Hey everybody, it is June 23rd and it is 4 o'clock Eastern, which means it is time for Monster Mavericks. And that is the show where we talk about all things Splinterlands, investment, future predictions, happenings in the game, all kinds of stuff. So we got a few people in the house, and typically, people will file in over time. Um, so yeah, it's been crazy times. I don't know if you guys noticed, but the market is, the Splinterlands market is getting wrecked. Maybe I exaggerate a little bit. We got a wild aggroed, our one of our illustrious founders. Um, so yeah, he was able to make it, which is great. Um, yeah, he is here. So yeah, a couple things I wanted to hit on this week. I mean, we have our usual stuff with the Dark Energy Crystals market, the upcoming card changes, things going out of print, all that stuff. But then we have a couple unique things. The Splinterlands Discord has been a buzz lately over rumors about rumors about stuff to lawsuits and people selling out, and everything's going, everything's crashing, the sky is falling, etc., etc. So, Ag might actually join me on air for a little bit and get his thoughts on things. Um, so yeah, I mean, I did want to hit on some of these topics that are, I think, it's all FUD. It is all FUD. I mean, literally. But it is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And welcome, Agrod.
Hello, sir. You're
Hello.
muted in the room, so you have to unmute in the live on air channel if you want me to hear.
Oh, whoops. Uh, let me see here.
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can hear me. All right,
Yeah.
great.
Uh, the audience can probably hear some feedback, so let me put in some headphones real quick.
Yep.
All right, one more setting, and I should be good to go.
Alrighty.
All right, let's try that. Hello?
Hello.
Perfect.
Can everybody hear Ag okay? My mixer is showing that you can, but I just want to make sure. And Ron, you got to do something about this pinging back and forth to Germany thing, because if that's really you, type for us. We need signs of life. All right, great. Yeah. So I mean, show's only an hour, so if you wanna dive straight into it.
Yeah, I got maybe 15 minutes, and then
Okay.
I'm gonna out of here.
All right.
So
Great.
whatever you, in my continuing approach to be as accessible to players as possible. I'm happy to be on your show. Thank you for having me. I'm stoked that you
Yep.
keep running the show. It's
Yeah.
fun, and I don't know what. How can I help you today, sir?
Okay. Well, the rumors are swirling about some sort of lawsuit. Um, I know a lot of times companies don't want to comment on pending lawsuits, but is there anything you can tell us about it?
Um, no, because as far as I know, there's no actual lawsuit.
Okay.
You know, I have not been served anything like that. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
we will be, but um, but there's nothing that I can point to and be like, here is this thing. And when that day comes, you're gonna see a lawyer whisper in my ear, and I'll be like, we can't talk about an ongoing
Right.
court case. It's gonna be pretty. Um, it'll I think it'll be pretty anticlimactic to the people that are here for like popcorn and drama.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but no, there's been nothing served. Um, maybe there will be, maybe there won't be. I don't know. Um, but the one thing I'll keep stressing more than anything else is that we work with a group called Bull Blockchain Law,
Mm-hmm.
and they focus on blockchains, business, and have a specialty in NFTs.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as I'm concerned, we are being consulted by like literally the like perfect people to help us. Um, Matt and I are very conservative when it comes to what we're doing with Splinterlands and the game, and do everything we can to assure that we act in accordance with U.S. law.
Fantastic. So, obviously I'm not a lawyer, but I once dated a girl through law school. So,
So you're basically an attorney then.
I mean, I did her homework for her. So, but you know, I actually look at this as like, I obviously legal costs is something nobody wants to pay, and and you know, there's the annoyance, there's the time suck, and all that stuff. I get all that, but I do think that if some kind of lawsuit were to happen, I think it's the best possible thing that could happen to create case law to establish that NFTs are property.
Um, yeah, that's getting into to stuff that's beyond my pay grade. That'll take attorneys.
Yeah,
Having case law, I agree, can be helpful. If it's shitty case law, then that could hurt the entire industry.
true.
And if the case precedent is strong, then it could help the entire industry. So, like everything with attorneys is always there's nothing definitive that will ever get said
Right,
until like final verdicts come down. And then even when final verdicts come down, like every single word can be interpreted in lots of different ways and spun lots of different ways. So it's usually not even the first case that like settles your case law. It's like the follow-on court cases
right,
that either uphold it, destroy it, or clarify it further for
sure.
whatever edge case makes it into the law books next.
Yeah, well, as they say, law is discovered, rather than handed down from on high. At least in the English common law system, which is what we use. Neglecting any admiralty, whatever that you have going on. Did you? So I mean, that's basically it. There is nothing going on. There's rumors circulating that things will go on, but at the moment, it's just nothing. Um, so nobody's talking about Sun Fox. Um, do you have any comments on the some old school alpha whales selling off cards and how that's been depressing charts on graphs?
Um, well, the market cap when I look at it in Splinterlands, I've been trying to watch this a little bit closely. We're at 4.7 million on the Discord bot.
Yep.
It's not the highest that we've ever been because
Mm-hmm.
we've crossed over 5 million, but
Right.
um, the market's consolidating a little bit as some of the OG whales are selling off some cards.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like Geronik. I watched Geronik go from like 64 to 51. Like, okay, that's $10,000 worth of cards sold, but is that really the end of the world for the game? Is that pack our bags and leave? I mean, in some ways, it's always good when the OGs are spreading cards to new players or
Yeah.
different players.
Right.
There's some health to that. So like if one day I wake up and like card values are down to 1 million, I'll be like, oh shit, this looks catastrophic and bad.
Right.
But some market fluctuation up and down, like I'm not gonna stop everything we're doing and you know go ballistic because people are like I mostly imagine that people are repositioning themselves, which I
Mm.
actually think is really healthy to do. We're after a having, it's time to look at your card collection. There's a little bit of FUD around. Like where do you want to be? And make sure that you are that your risk that you want to accept is appropriate to how many cards or whatever asset. I mean, it's not even just specific to our game. It's just
Mm.
you know taking taking a pause to again figure out where you want to be. I find it really easy in this game to like I'm just playing and wake up and you're like how the shit did I get $5,000 worth of cards?
Mm-hmm.
Like that happens to people.
Yeah.
um so waking up every now and then and being like is this how much of this digital property or this NFT series I want to own? I think that's a fair question to ask. So I don't know. I can I say that it doesn't bother me at all? No. Can I say that I think some of this is healthy for the game? Absolutely. Um, but it's like it hasn't reached an extreme where I think it's time to mass panic, um, and we're pretty far away from that. But what do I know? I'm just a dude. You guys get to make your own assessments and your own figure it out for yourselves.
Yeah, that is certainly true. My take on it, I mean, this has only really been a topic the last 24 hours or so. But if you guys listening are on the Splinterlands Discord, there's a new channel called Deep Dive. It's deep hyphen dive. And people have been talking a lot, like it says, in depth on some of these topics. But my general feeling is that, the concentrations of wealth, in this case, Splinterlands cards, it's a good thing for them to be distributed out wider. Because in the short term, yeah, we have these fluctuations because alphas just don't trade all that much. So when a bunch go on sale, then it's going to depress the prices of those, and but then as the number of people who own those expands, then it'll become a healthier, more liquid market over time.
And that might, unless you're able to pick up the exact level of cards that you want, it might even lead to people like, I was only able to get a level 3, so now I
Mm.
have to go buy a couple more of these things.
Yeah.
Um, and so just by imperfectly spreading them out to more hands, like in the short term, selling is bad for prices, but in the long term, having a more broadly distributed um, set of value holders for the game. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. It's not at a point where I gotta cry,
Yeah.
And I really respect the right and the ability of all players to come and go.
Yep.
I like very early on. I made a decision of like I'm not going to sit here and beg certain players to stay or leave.
Mm.
Like it's not in my best interest. It's not in their best interest. So um, So I try to be as hands off with this stuff as possible. That people can ask me direct questions, and I respond to the best of my ability, and um, then people make their own decisions of what level are they comfortable with.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. Uh, Ron wants you to beg him though. Beg him to stay.
Yeah, Ron, please don't ever leave me, Ron.
Please
You're the
don't
world
go.
you're the world's best clown.
At least the world's roundest headest clown.
He's the most Rondon clown in all of MSP waves.
That is absolutely true. It's
So, I mean, I look. There's some reasons to be afraid. There's some reasons to be excited. There's good things and bad things. There's players coming. There's players going. I mean, I think um, you know it's interesting times. Whether or not this leads to catastrophe,
yeah.
well, we've yet to see. But I don't know.
Well, I for one am not concerned about catastrophe. Um, Really, it's just another example of to me of the need for user growth, and the I look at Rafalski's site a lot, and user growth has been steady, so I'm perfectly happy with all that. We're
I mean,
actually
we've
at
we've we've tripled the number of users in the last year. We were
yeah.
down to 1,400, and we're sitting up here at like 55, 5,600 accounts per day.
Yep. We're just yesterday was a record 5342 um, according to Rafalski
No,
actually changed his site.
that's accounts playing,
Yeah.
right? When you get to the season end, go click that purple button because we've hit 56 a couple times too when you account those that are just transacting as well as those that are playing.
Let's see.
And the purple button's fun because then you can see the 2 week spikes for
Yeah,
season end.
that is true. Ah, There's like a lag on this though. Okay, here we go.
So I stare at that thing. I will check his site. Probably not more than once a day, but at least every day.
Yeah, Fox, the 31st of May, that was when the chain switch happened, so transactions were way down. But that was just a temporary, blip. Um, so yeah, did you notice that he changed his site to hivedata.space from steamweb.pl?
I mean, it's pretty.
Yeah.
I
So
don't I don't think that the data has changed substantially.
no, it hasn't. But he made a couple improvements to the UI, which is handy.
Yeah,
So
it was nice of him to build this. I
yeah.
use it all the time.
Yep. Yep. And if anybody like goes to, I'll actually just put the site in here. If you guys are watching on the website or on the stream, you can actually see my screen. But I do the copy and paste and stuff. But uh, if you are brand new to Splinterlands and you go to the site hivedata.space/statistics/Splinterlands, and click join the game, that actually is a referral link for him, which will give him a little bit of support for maintaining the site. So if you are a new player, I would say go ahead and do that. Because
Yeah, I send him a little bit of HBD every now and then.
oh yeah,
Nothing major, but just a
yeah,
little thank you for running that.
yeah. It's a
Right.
handy source.
I give a lot of presentations about our game, and it ends up in a lot of them. It's the least I can do,
Need some licensing fees.
I guess.
Eco says I sound like a trustworthy individual on radio. Well, thank
I
you,
mean,
Eco Instant.
yeah, yeah. Who doesn't like Neil?
Yeah, lots of
He's
people, but
a gentleman. So, so I have maybe 5 more minutes here. So,
okay.
any other gotcha journalism that you're going to get into?
Well, so okay, I do have a piece of gotcha journalism because
Oh,
you and I are pretty much on the same page as far as the card selling and everything. So the the big issue with when you did the chain switch and now all transactions for cards are done in dark energy crystals.
yeah.
What do you say to the person who wants to sell, uh, you know, wants to sell some cards or whatever, and then they get this dark energy crystal, and then they sell the dark energy crystal, but there's not enough liquidity in the dark energy crystal market, so it depresses prices, so they're getting less than what they really thought. Then there's withdrawal fees. What do you say to that person as far as, you know, transitioning value out to external to the game?
I mean, take all of that into consideration when you set prices.
Okay. Well,
I don't know what else to share there. I mean, the other like if you don't like this setup, you can always use OpenSea, and that will have a different set of challenges. I
hmm
mean, there's no.
are there any
Uh,
transactions happening there? I haven't actually looked.
it's been a while since I took a peek. I mean, there was a healthy amount for a while, so it's been maybe a month since I looked, so I don't know what it is currently.
Mhm. Let's take a look. But that was my real gotcha because since you were generous enough to come on and invite a question like that, uh,
Sure.
but learn market to set prices aggroed. That's a good summary, Eco Instant.
I mean, like, what else do you want me to say?
Yeah, well, I mean,
The
if there's
market is what it is, you know. Like, if you own 8 million, or if you own 80 million deck, and you want to move it in a day, then that you're going to pay a price at the market for that.
Mhm.
And if you are patient, then there will be plenty of people over time that will chip away at it. I mean that. So
Yeah,
just be cautious and be thoughtful as you know, as you play the game, as you buy your cards, as you think about selling your cards, just map that out.
yeah, that
And
makes a lot of
I don't
sense.
have a crystal ball, right? Like there's nothing. I don't know what that's going to look like at a certain time.
Yeah, I'm actually looking on OpenSea right now, and there's 2,142 items up for sale on OpenSea, and volume over the past week was 10 Ether or Ethereum.
All
So
right,
that's
so
actually a lot better than I thought it would be.
yeah, it's 2,000 in the week.
Yeah.
I mean, and a lot of the Ethereum guys are not our guys. I mean,
Right.
that's
Not
part
yet.
of what my job is to go get those guys hooked. um, hasn't. I mean, it's happened a little bit, but
Yeah,
there's more work to be done there for sure.
absolutely. And yeah, so I appreciate you coming on. I don't want to, drag you too long if you got to go
No, no,
do
no.
stuff.
Yep. My main point is, um, Matt and I are very cautious. We have a basically the ideal attorney for our business, and we work to be compliant with U.S. law in everything that we do. And I don't know. Well, we'll see how that goes, but
Yep.
that's at least our intention. That's what I can speak to without fail.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right,
But
guys. Well, hopefully you have a lovely rest of the show. Thank you for having me on,
thank you.
and we'll speak soon.
Alrighty.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. All right. So that was Agrod, founder, CEO, Splinterlands. Um, and yeah, that was really uh, what's the word? That was really, I think, rational. I guess is the word. Um, that all made perfect sense to me as far as things going on with all these rumors swirling about. So, long term, I have like zero concerns personally. It's not investment advice, but just telling you where I'm standing about all these things. So, I feel like that's settled. Let's move on. So there were a couple really interesting pieces of news. Speaking of Ethereum, there was this article came out just a little while ago, where the 10 blockchain games with the most users. Fox is getting started early with the drinking, and yeah, so they profile the 10 blockchain games with the most users. Splinterlands, obviously number one, has a great little blurb here. Actually, it says having successfully transitioned from the Steam to the Hive blockchain, card collection DApp Splinterlands is riding high as the most popular DApp tracked by DApp Radar. Splinterlands is arguably one of the best examples of how to integrate blockchain features with gaming. Splinterlands is a PvP experience that'll be changing soon, in which two players select from card collection to build a deck, with the actual battle being auto-played in a deterministic manner by the game. Deterministic, but with randomness. So that's very cool. It's always good to get some press out there. And then it goes on to talk about some of these other games. Um, so Crypto Dynasty, which used to be on EOS, uh, is is an RPG. It's on I don't know what it's on now. I guess it's still on EOS. Um, there's Upland, which I'd never heard of. Prospectors, which was on EOS and moved over to Wax. And that's I've seen. I tried starting Prospectors, but I never really got into it. It's an economic management game, which typically I like. There's Galaxy Blocks, Drug Wars. I guess Drug Wars is still on Steam. I thought they left, they came back, they left again. I don't know. Jelly Squish, which is kind of interesting. It's just a regular mobile game. Um, I'm not sure how it works on a blockchain, but it's great that we're seeing more and more of these games come out, because gaming is obviously a huge business, um, and getting growing the category is really where we need to be, and that's going to come with Bitcoin, if it ever breaks out to new highs. It's going to come with people learning about crypto through PayPal, which was a big news item over the last week. Maybe Kat will talk about that in the following hour on his investment show. Uh, so part of the challenge with Splinterlands, I've been beating this drum, I guess, for a long time, but a certain percentage of crypto users will find their way to us, and they will become part of the ecosystem. And the more users, the better. But then there's the other part where we want to attract users just from the gaming community, because there's, I don't know, hundreds of millions of people that game in the world, and some fraction of those should be made aware of these kinds of things. And whether they go into what Chain Clash or Hyper Dragons or whatever it is, uh, that's all to the good as far as uh, you know expanding the category. And as more people come in, scared cat say, "What did?" So for those of you listening, this show ends in 34 minutes, and then immediately following that is Scaredy Cat's investor show. And what I was saying, Scaredy Cat, was that there was the big news item this week with PayPal saying they're going to support Bitcoin purchases, and I'm not exactly sure if they're going to support transmission as well or just purchases or whatever. But that gave Bitcoin quite a little bump, and the more people who use, tons of people use PayPal, and so you know those people who are exposed to crypto through that will be additional people in the crypto sphere, and then some portion of those will come and make their way to Splinterlands. So I just figured you might be talking about that in your show. Uh, so a lot of games are on Wax, and there was this article. Yes, here they're already walking back on it a bit. I haven't really followed the news exactly, just kind of scanning the headlines. But yeah, PayPal doing crypto would be huge. So Wax, which is the Worldwide Asset Exchange, is it's a fork of EOS, and now you can integrate that directly with Splinterlands, which is great. So you were able to buy stuff with Wax, but then the like it says in the article here, the key piece was put into place, and that is you can use Wax to purchase credits on Splinterlands, which is the dark energy crystal proxy that allows people to load up with fiat currencies or Wax or whatever. So that's very cool. They are working to add Wax to tournaments and the ability to transfer tokens and skins, um, to the Wax blockchain. And skins is something that I think is really underutilized in Splinterlands. There are skins available. There's one set, and if you go to the skins tab, you can see them there. Um, but you can see that virtually nobody's bought them. Like 10 to 15 purchases, depending on which particular skin it is. But I think the ability to make your own skin or to trade skins will be a huge thing for the game. Once there's enough users involved, I imagine there'll have to be some kind of moderation in the skins because you want to be able to recognize it, based on whatever card it's supposed to represent. Um, so Gerber's asking, can you trade skins? I think it's one of those things where there's the ability, but there's no UI for it. Don't quote me on that exactly, but it certainly can be made tradable. Um, so yeah, I mean, people love skins. People love the custom artwork. They like to make their own stuff their own. So yeah, so right now these skins here are just available for the people who bought them. That is true. I'm saying that we need to evolve that functionality. Yeah, more skin options, definitely. I agree, Paul. But yeah, so with the Wax integration, and I'm not a big Wax user. I think I have an account, but um, I've never really used it very much beyond logging to prospectors once or twice. So I think. Yeah, so Jasic says skins are not tradable through UI, but sending is possible using custom JSON. So that was my impression. Um, but again, just having the skins that we have is okay. People aren't terribly excited about it because only 10 or 15 of them have sold. Um, but once people have the ability to make their own skins, and or there's just a wider variety of skins, I think that'll be great, great business, all on its own. Because people like cosmetics. Aesthetics matter, even as much as my aesthetic skills and insights are low, but but I understand that they matter at least. Um, Other news we got the Splinterns. This is kind of fun. So I've actually been contacted by someone on the team, and you know the so we got these interns, or the team got these interns from Ubisoft, and um, you know, and what I've been wondering is, what are some like dream list projects that we should think about putting these interns to work on, and the the thing that I came up with was basically onboarding stuff, tutorials, playthroughs, because the game is complicated. Even though it's based on simplicity, the interaction of rules and everything gets complicated. So, what I would love to see is basically a tutorial mode where a new user logs in. They set up their accounts, and then they have the virtual cards, and their starter set, and then say, okay, well, walk them through, doing these different transactions. Buying a card, selling a card, burning a card, combining a card, playing a couple battles, getting a feel for how the different rules work. It's like, well, you can't put a ranged fighter in the first position because you won't be able to fire. You don't want to do, um, just get them some experience without any downside. So, you know, I think that would help retention because, like we talked about last week, they're starting to do some Facebook advertising. They're getting cost of acquisition at $1.50, which is fantastic. But then those people aren't really sticking around so much, at least not yet. So there's a conversion hurdle that needs to be done there. So personally, I think that is the number one priority for the interns. Obviously, I don't make that decision. I don't make any decisions regarding the Splinterlands company, but I think that would be best. But if you have ideas, I would say go over to the Discord and share them there because they are looking for active ideas. So that looks bad. Okay. That was so. Rondon Jurunik is. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. He's one of the guys selling alphas. If we go to the market here, when we look for alphas, let's see. So, yeah, you can see on the market page of. I'm just looking at comments here, but you can see the price and say trend -57%, -50%, -78%. What that's telling you is that the trades or the asking prices are reducing by huge fractions. So cards are getting cheap as people are liquidating, and it depends on what you need, obviously. So like some of the legendaries are actually up, which is amazing. Um, so massages and feet rubbing for Yeba. It's a good idea, Dan. So some alpha legendaries are up. Gold Dragon's down quite a bit, 32%. Spirit of the Forest is down 10%, but Selenia Sky's up 35%. Why is that? I don't know. The market is what the market is, but most of the alphas are available, much cheaper than they have been in the recent past. So if you're looking to get an alpha account or to finish, a bunch of, if you're looking to finish a level or max out a card, then this is, I think, a good opportunity for you. And the more trading, the better, as far as I'm concerned. So even if prices are lower, but they're trading, then that's a real price because the alpha market values have been based on list or asking prices simply because there haven't been any trades. So that's just a wild guess, basically. And let's see here. So Dan says Jurnix sold some pretty cool ones last night at very good prices. Yeah, so that's good stuff. So like I said, if you're looking to buy in and complete stuff, then I think now is your chance. I feel like this is one of those things where it's like, prices were super cheap when the game came out, and then alphas sold out, betas came in, alpha prices started to rise. I think this is like the last, cheap-ish opportunity for alphas. At least that's the way it feels to me. Now I already have like 3% of all the alphas, so I'm good. But this is the chance for other people to get in to get those kind of OG collector items. You do get the battle bonus for dark energy crystals, which is pretty handy. So my main account, that's mostly what it plays is alphas and alpha golds when available, just for that percentage bonus on each card. Um, so make more deck basically. And they have said that beta will be getting a boost at some point. My guess is you'll get like a 5% boost instead of a 10% boost compared to Untamed, but we'll see how that goes. Let's see. Oh, the other thing that has come up is collection scores. So there's been a lot of chatter in the Discord, especially in the Maverick channel, where you know tournaments are still obviously, or anytime tournaments are still fairly new, and people are still finding things not bugs necessarily, but things they don't like about the experience. So one of the things is like strength of schedule, basically. So they're going to be implementing this collection score deal where, in order to progress to different leagues, um, yeah, Paul. Paul says need more use cases for alphas. It's only the 10% in a few tournaments right now, isn't it? Yes, that is correct. So there are a few alpha only tournaments, and you do get the 10% bonus to dark energy crystals when you win a ranked battle, and that's it. Other than that, you get bragging rights. Your artwork's a little cooler, and you can say, I have the cool stuff. So, but yeah, more use cases would be great. This is going to be a thing though. So, as collections or as editions go out of print, the trading volume is going to drop, and that's just the way things are going to be. Um, if user growth outstrips the supply of the current edition, then some of those people will start to look back to earlier editions and buy up there. But by and large, the volume is going to drop quite a bit. Uh, Orbs, yeah, I was going to talk about that, Gerber. We got 9,000 orbs left. Let's see here. Yeah, so if we go to Hive data, then we can see under purchases, we can see orbs, and they are averaging 156 a day. So, uh, but that's over a longer time period. If we just look at the last couple of weeks, we can see that's accelerated a little bit. Let's do the last month. Let's see. We're doing 276 a day over the last 30 days. And, I believe that includes the orbs that come out in rewards. Um, so, yeah, let's 9,000. It's not going to be that long. Even at the 276 rate, we got 32 days. I don't think it'll actually be that long because as things start to sell out, people buy in and they stockpile. So I would not be surprised to see like 1,000 orbs go in a day, especially with when you include the ones that are handed out in rewards. So yeah, I would give it 2 weeks maybe. What will replace the 1% for orbs? We don't know. We do know that there is not going to be an immediate replacement for orbs. Whether they're going to slot something else in for that 1%, I don't know. But the orbs cards, there's not going to be, at least not immediately. There's not going to be another set of orbs because technically these orbs are called the Winds of Change collection, and so I imagine there will be additional collections of orbs in the future. But Agrod, I believe it was Agrod who said that they don't have a replacement. There isn't going to be a replacement immediately. So when there will be that replacement, I don't know. If we check the orbs market, it's been dropping. Over the past couple weeks. And I think that's to be expected with them coming out as rewards because, rewards are essentially free. So we could see that. Hey, Roland. I'm not pushing deck. This is an objective market analysis here. Um, but they're going for $1.12 right now. So I mean, if we look at deck is 57 cents per thousand, and orbs are 2,500, right? So it's definitely better off buying orbs from the market than it is from the from uh, than from Splinterlands. At least as long as the supply holds out. But I really expect that to be a short-lived phenomenon. Yes, your mistake. So and it'll follow the same kinds of dynamics that the other things have followed while when they go out of print. Initially there'll be a big spike, and how big is relative, but there'll be a spike, and then it'll come back down, and base, and then it'll slowly grind higher. Um, but I think orbs, just in general, are underappreciated. I mean, there are great cards in the orbs, and they're just not getting the recognition in the marketplace that they should. I mean, you know the. I mean, we can take a look at them real quick. Let's take a look at promos that are not dragons. Let's do all take out dragons, and let's just look at the regulars there. 800 orbs. Yeah. So I mean, these cards are great. Armorsmith is used all the time. Dwarven Wizard is used all the time. Mermaid Healer is used all the time. Undead Archer is used all the time. Electric Eels is used all the time. The Goblin Chef is a good card. It has its kind of like niche approach or niche uses. Halfling Alchemist is not an orb, but it is a promo, so that's why it gets included in this list. We need some finer selection criteria. Lord of Fire is a great card, not used as frequently. Corrupted Pegasus used all the time. So I mean, when these cards go, then I expect them to appreciate it, follow that spike and pull back. So Enchanted Defender can be OP depending on the rule set. Um, when he gets up to 4 attack and 9 shield and stuff, he's still susceptible to magic. But if it's if it's weak magic or if it's lost magic, then he's a great guy, a great card to use. Yeah, I use Lord of Fire a lot too. Eco instant. Paul says he thinks it's because everyone has the orbs cards at this point. All of them are useful. Yeah, I don't know. What there were 250,000, I think, originally. I'd have to check on that, but it was a bunch. Maybe it was 200,000. It was 1 million cards total. Um, but you know, even if that's true, where everybody has all the orbs that they need, I don't think it's true because at max level, consumes a lot of cards. But new players coming in, they'll see some of these other cards and they go, "Oh, I need to get Armorsmith." Like Armorsmith is like a requirement, to be competitive. I mean, if you're playing around in Silver League, then okay, you can kind of do whatever. But if you are in the higher leagues, some of these cards you just need to have. Like when I play water, I use electric eels constantly. But you know, is what it is. So I'm just saying, expect that kind of market activity. You see spike, pullback, and base, and then grind. That's just what I'm saying. That's what we've seen with alphas. That's what we saw with betas. That's what we saw with rewards cards, at least the useful ones. They go out of print. Exactly. Can't play low mana white without Armorsmith. Exactly. So if we go to Kyokuz's rewards cards, Fury's Chicken is almost gone. Yes, Lord Annis is indispensable. You are correct. So Fury's Chicken's at 98%. We'll probably see that those 98 guys, the Fury's Chicken, the Beetle Queen, Nagamaster, those probably will expire at the end of the season, which is in, what was it, like 6 days, something like that? Yeah, 6 days, 5 hours. So yeah, I mean, Naga Windmaster is super useful. Beetle Queen is not as much. But Furious Chicken is used in like 52% of all battles. Jessica has the numbers. Um, I always look forward to his posts about which cards are used and with what frequency. So yeah, the thing to stock up on at this point, I think, are the gold Furious chickens because they are incredibly useful. Let's see what they're going for right now. Chicken and reward, and let's look at the golds. So, going for 379 is the cheapest right now, which is a little pricey, and they go up pretty rapidly from there. So, if you're looking to get some, might be the time to get them because same kind of thing. Once they go to print, you'll see a spike, just like we saw with Lord Arianthus, and then it'll come back a bit as people capitalize on that spike in prices, and but then it'll base out higher than its in print value, and then slowly go higher. So that's just the type of thing you want to look for. What's the URL of Peak Monsters? It's peakmonsters.com. And even the regular chickens are super useful, but you don't get the Dark Energy Crystal bonus. So they're going for 5 cents per. Looks a little bit higher actually. Looks about 6.5 cents per BCX on the regulars. So if you have if you're running a lot of delegated accounts, then these are like necessities that you need. The other thing about delegated accounts is that we are in the testing process of the so far called Deck 404 system, and that's going to be the new, basically the replacement for Herons Unlimited. So if the tests are looking good so far, we had a couple of hiccups that we kind of ironed out, and Gerber is at least so far doing all the programming here because he's a wizard. Um, and it's going to work, very similar to what Herons Unlimited did. A couple changes though. So basically, you're going to be able to delegate whatever you want to an account, and the people will play it or they won't. And if people don't play it, you won't make money. It's very simple. Everything's going to be 50-50 split, and basically we're taking all the interaction part of it between the player and the owner out of it, because that was just a source of just constant problems under the Herons Unlimited system. So, like I said, everything's going to be 50-50. You delegate whatever you delegate, and people play or they don't. And that's it. So if they don't, then we'll take the account back. If the player bothers the owner and the owner reports it back to me, that player is just gone. And then the other part is that I've been thinking about the whole bot issue, and I'm not interested in supplying a service that just allows people to run multiple accounts on a bot because it's just unnecessary. If we want to do that, we can do that with our spare accounts anyways. So it's going to require a real life player, and I'm still trying to figure out how to figure that out from like a proof of life kind of standpoint. So that has to be solved. If anybody has ideas, let me know. You can come over to the Deck 101 channel, and we can talk about it there. The but for right now, I'm thinking we'll be ready a week from now. I'm gonna do so like we've been testing it with like 10 accounts right now, and I'm gonna be loading that up with a bunch more accounts, and assuming everything works out as far as the season ending and all the distributions go, then we should be able to go live at the in a week or so. So yeah, it's a proof of decision making. Because one thing I thought about was to, say, okay, go ahead and play these cards, but then they could just stop their automated solution and then just do that one match and then say, okay, here you go. So I'm not quite sure how that's going to be. Maybe I could have somebody stream their quests, and then we can see, their decision-making process, and them actually using the website UI rather than a command line kind of thing. So those are just some of the ideas kicking around in my head. And yeah, Ego, we'll add you. We'll put you on the list for when everything is tested and ready to go. So there's my brave ads. Let's see. What else did I want to hit today? Because we're running close to the top of the hour. Got about 8 minutes left before Scaredy Cat's show. The price of deck obviously is has been falling a bit, and that is tied into that question I asked Agrod. If you are looking to move value out of the Splinter Lands ecosystem, now that all sales are in deck, well, it makes it harder, right? Because before, you could sell in Steam and you could sell in SPD, and you didn't know what you were going to get. I was like, life is like a box of chocolates and all that, but if you got Steam or SBD, then that was very easy to transfer to an external value like Bitcoin or whatever. But now we're locked into to dark energy crystals. So either you put them out over on OpenSea, which is an interesting option, and there does seem to be growing volume there, which was surprising to me. And then, or you make a private deal on the buy sell channels in the Discord, or you just take the market risk of selling for dark energy crystals, and then knowing that the buying liquidity is not super deep. So here's the depth of the market at the moment. You can see that on the buy side, there's not a whole lot. So if we go to a million, let's see, we're all the way down to 0.0023 hive, right? And that comes out to hive is about 25 cents right now, so that's 57 cents per thousand, which is call it half price. So yeah, that's kind of rough. And if you're looking to move a large amount, then you're going to pay some liquidity price. We're about 3 gold chickens. That's good. And Eco says any known criteria could be programmed for, but now for forcing them to use a web app to play the rented cards and split rewards could be a solution. Yeah, so that is a potential solution. But any system can be gamed, right? It's just is it worth doing or not? So we'll have to wait and see, basically. So Fox is posting ice cream. I'm not entirely sure why, but it looks good. I'm actually lactose intolerant, so I don't eat much ice cream. But now, my wife has found this this almond ice cream stuff, which is just awesome. So so that's kind of where we are. VC Dragon, you want stop bot or what? I don't understand. Speak too fast. I do speak fast. Sorry about that. I try to slow down. It's not that I want to stop bots. It's that the service that we're gonna have, I don't need bots. I'm not interested in supporting players just botting, because again, that's a thing that I could do myself. Yeah, I'm just talking about our service. The game obviously is going to always have bots, simply because of the blockchain nature of it. And I think that's okay, actually, especially in these early days. So this is a discussion that's been, raging in the Discord for like 2 years now. And, the bots serve a very important purpose, because at the moment, there are basically more cards than there are players. So that is an issue, and we need the liquidity of matches. So on the testing of deck 404, I've been playing some silver level accounts manually, and I've been you go through the ranked match, and I wait for the matchmaking to occur, and it's like going to the very end of the status bar. I think it's like a 2-minute search. VC, I'm not going to stop you. You keep doing whatever you want to do. It's just not going to be on my service. That's all. So in those lower leagues, match liquidity is a real problem right now. and that is a real problem. So one of the things I expect is that a lot of these matches or a lot of these accounts on the deck 404 are going to be silver and gold kind of accounts. We all know that right now level one cards can get into gold or maybe even diamond. That's going to be changing with the collection score system. And I didn't get to talk about collection score of the tournaments, but we'll do that next week, I guess. Once the collection score system is implemented, then the leagues are going to have those minimum portfolio values basically, and that is going to even further reduce the game liquidity in those leagues. So it's important that we have enough accounts playing to make a good user experience, especially for those new users that are coming in from Facebook or whatever that aren't necessarily used to the blockchain gaming thing or that experience. So, I actually bought all of TC Polymath's old Heron's accounts. So we've got, plus some of my own that I have already had. I think we have right now 170 spaces, and my own portfolio personally, I'll be able to fill like, I don't know, 40 of those, 50 of those, and the rest of those need to come from you guys. So I hope that you guys will consider using the service. And it's going to be the same kind of thing where, all cards are converted to dark energy crystals and then dark energy crystals are split. Now, one of the things that's going to affect returns is what happens with the reward system, because we all know rewards were kind of nerfed from the farming, by including the potions and in the rewards. And under the current system, that makes sense. But under the collection score system, maybe that could be loosened up a bit, or the percentages can be tweaked. Because, I was playing some of those lower level accounts, and, I click reveal the cards, and, you only get like maybe 1 or 5 or 7 or whatever, depending on exactly what league you're in. But then, you flip them all over, and I had one yesterday where it was all potions. And I was just like, you got to be kidding me. That is not fun. Because, you want something. Even just the Dark Energy Crystals, which is still not as fun as a card. But, Dark Energy Crystal is something. The potions, I mean, at the low levels, it takes forever for those potions to pay out in terms of altering the percentages. Yes, so the service could be used by new players to test out the game. That was exactly the purpose for creating Herons originally. When I asked TC Polymath today to create the service, but then it ended up not really happening that way. People just got on and deployed a bot network on the accounts, and then that was kind of it. You can pool rewards for players, but not owners. Maybe it's kind of interesting. That's I think that'd be too difficult, honestly. But anyway, that we're coming up on the hour. Next up is Scaredy Cat, so stick around for that. He's got his investor show. He talks crypto. Sometimes he talks stocks and everything. It's a great show, and we will see you same bad time and all that next week.